It's a really beautiful place, and one of the tackiest spots in Canada.
It really is. So isn't that an interesting juxtaposition of things? Yeah, that's what I found. I dragged my husband there, I don't know how many times, and he finally said, Anne, I'm not going there anymore. But there's also some wonderful little spots, like the Lundy's Lane Museum is a great little place. There used to be another museum too that housed the collection, the Barnett's museum collection. And it's since been bought by somebody, I think in Toronto. And so really, really interesting conglomeration of things in this collection.
And one of the characters works now is that a fictional museum, or did you put her in a real place?
That's a real museum. The Lundy's Lane Museum is a real museum. I think it must have changed since I visited a couple of years ago. That was the last visit I made. But it's fascinating, the lore that's there.
And Jasmine,
yes.
/ Sandra.
Yes, she was Sandra. That's right.
She has a fixation about one of the pieces, and it's made of hair.
That's right. Yeah, they used to, in Victorian times, they would take human hair and make wreaths or make decorative objects. And often I think it was, after someone died, it was a way of having a keepsake of that person. So they would take some of the hair and they would weave it into a design. Yeah.
The idea of keepsakes and mementos, and it keeps coming up in the book. Mm-hmm. There are all kinds of. So what do you explain yourself?
Oh, I'm not sure what I was thinking of. It's just that I think that people have a tendency to hold on to things. They hold on to the ashes of the people they love. For instance, it's I imagine it's hard to actually allow them to leave your possession. That's one thing, and lots of other things that people hang on to. I think it's just a human tendency.
The characters in this book, they're also holding on to grief and anger and
all kinds of human emotions. Yeah. Jealousy being another. But I think in the end, I am really very interested in how people overcome times of enormous difficulty, and just how they are able to go on. I mean, how would you go on if you were, say, a mother and you lost your child? How would you do that? And I think people are just complex and flawed and fascinating at the best of times. So put them in these kinds of situations and see how they react well.
One of the most difficult parts of the book for me was when Ingrid finds out that her daughter's dead, gets the call from Damien at the hospital.
Damien was one thing, Ingrid was another. I wrote that chapter again and again because I have never lost a child. And I thought I was going to jinx the world if I wrote this chapter. I thought, I have a daughter. Now, mind you, my children were young when I started writing this novel. I didn't think about them, as I wrote it, but I was still a mother. And so when I began writing this chapter, I didn't go deep enough. And I go to an abbey in New Brunswick, a cloistered Trappist abbey, to write. And I had gone there, 6, 7 times. I'm not a Catholic, but I find that I need a space that's in very quiet. And of course, this is the quietest place that you can go to. So I would go there as I was writing this, and I read this chapter, Ingrid's chapter, in which she finds out about her daughter. I read it to one of the nuns who's the guest mistress there. And she, had all the normal reactions, was complimentary when I finished it. And the next morning she came back and she said, "You didn't go deep enough." And then she said, "And this is how it was for me when my father died. And this is what you need to get to this place where I believe you." And so then I had to write it again and again. That whole week that I was there, I was writing to go deeper and deeper and deeper into this place that was so enormously hard for me to go to, because I thought, I don't ever want to lose a child, and this is what it will be like. So when I did read it to her at the end of the week, she said, she had tears in her eyes, and she said, "You moved me. Now you've got it, but you didn't have it before."
The book is Falling. I've been speaking with the author, Anne Simpson, and Falling is published by Maclellan and Stewart.